So, it's E3 time again. And we know there will be very little mention of our favourite handheld, the PS Vita. Sony not being at E3 doesn't change the amount of new Vita games announced, since they haven't mentioned the Vita at E3 in 5 years. We will of course have announcements of physical games coming to the Vita, courtesy of limited run games, but I do miss the days of actual new game announcements. It did get me thinking back to that first E3 in 2011, when Sony first revealed the name of the Vita, and talked about it in a lot of detail, dedicating around a third of their conference to the Vita. I decided I'd do a look back at that E3 2011 conference, and see how much of Sony's statements about the Vita actually came true. So, let's take a look.
It's on this guy.
Well, this was the first NGP Vita announcement of the conference, that we'd be getting a brand new game set in the BioShock universe. And as we all know, that did not happen. This was a big announcement, so it's a shame that it later got cancelled. They probably shouldn't have announced anything though until the game had started development. They basically got people's hopes up based on Ken Levine having an idea of a game in his head.
And now, as I mentioned, absolutely central to the evolution of the digital living room of content and entertainment following you anywhere and everywhere is the PlayStation Portable.
Kaz Hirai talks about the PSP and mentions console-like gaming experiences in the palm of your hands. I think this is true of the PSP as it is of the Vita. Games like Metal Gear Solid Peace Walker, the God of War games, Kingdom Hearts Birth by Sleep really showed the PSP could play these console-like experiences.
It's been a home console-like gaming experience in the palm of your hands, and we continue to have very high expectations for PSP in the years to come. And with that in mind, we've created our next generation portable to be one that breaks traditional boundaries of entertainment with new ways to control the device.
I agree with this. It did have new ways to control the device. Whether they were worth having, well, that's a different conversation.
New ways to interact with your world and new ways to interact with your friends, and of course with your entertainment.
Well, yes, it did have new ways to interact with friends with apps like Near. But again, were they worth having? I don't think so.
This product introduces elements like a dual touchpad, an OLED screen, and dual cameras that provide an augmented reality experience to allow you to play with every aspect of your real life.
This is a weird, kind of hyperbolic statement to say it allows you to play with every aspect of real life. And the augmented reality games didn't amount to much in the end. But I guess Sony should get credit for trying new things.
So, I'm very proud to showcase, for the first time in North America, the successor to the PlayStation Portable. What you've come to know as NGP, our next generation portable, is officially named PlayStation Vita. So, what does Vita mean? Vita means life. And we're confident that PlayStation Vita will be the first product that truly blurs those lines between entertainment and your real life, empowering you to play, interact, and connect like never before.
The idea of interacting, connecting with others, and social connectivity features very heavily in Kaz Hirai's speech. While the Vita did have things like Near, Party, and updates on friends' progress on games, and the 3G Vita meant you could be connected at all times, these features weren't that useful. Looking back, it was surprising to see how much emphasis they put on social features and interactivity in new ways, when really the Switch has shown people just want quality gaming on the go, not a confusing list of features that hardly anyone will use, and that didn't add to the core experience. Knowing now that the Vita wasn't a major sales success, it does make me wonder if a clean message of quality gaming on the go, without the cameras, augmented reality, back-touch, social stuff, would that have been more successful? When I look at the Switch, it's interesting to think what could have been. If the Vita's size and shape had been the same, but taking out some of those features, could the price have come down? Or could they have included 8 or 16 gigs of storage?
The features alone are cutting edge. 2 analog sticks that give you dual shock-like control of games, a stunning multi-touch 5-inch OLED screen, front and rear touchpads.
Sony were trying something new, but this jumble of features likely didn't help the Vita find a bigger audience. Realistically, Vita gamers today are playing it because it has a superb library, not because it has 2 cameras. 2 analog sticks and the OLED screen. Those were really the only extra features needed over the PSP. The front touchscreen is useful so that we get more mobile games on Vita, but the back touch I think was not needed at all. There are very few games that made good use of it. I would much rather they just added 2 extra shoulder buttons.
6-axis motion sensing technology, and of course my favorite feature, front and rear cameras allowing for augmented reality experiences never before seen, completely blurring the lines between reality and interactive entertainment.
Blurring the lines between reality and interactive experience. Not really. But again, it's marketing, so they're going to exaggerate everything.
PlayStation Vita will have both Wi-Fi and 3G Wi-Fi models for on-the-go entertainment.
The 3G model was just a waste. Again, it's nice that Sony were trying something new, and mobile gaming was and still is a massive market, but they really needed to just appeal to core gamers. Even though they talked about social connectivity, they didn't explain well the benefit of the 3G Vita over the Wi-Fi model.
PlayStation Vita offers a truly unique social experience. And there are a few key reasons why we say that. With a feature we're calling Party, users in the same game room on PlayStation Vita can voice chat live over headsets or the built-in microphone, no matter where they are or what game they're playing. And it's a perfect way to stay in touch with your friends and chat during gameplay from wherever you might be.
The idea of Party is really good, and actually the onboard mic for the Vita is useful too. I've only used it a few times, but I can imagine it's a solid and useful feature to have.
Another critical step forward is a social connection tool for PlayStation Vita that we're calling Near. Near allows you to connect and play with others around you, recommend content to them, compare trophies, and a variety of other social connection tools for the PlayStation Network. Both Party and Near will power the connected experience for PlayStation Vita, and we'll be unveiling more specifics on them in the very near future.
Near was cancelled pretty quickly. I used it to grab items from other players, mainly to get the platinum in Uncharted Golden Abyss, but otherwise it was a wholly unnecessary feature.
I know I'm speaking for everyone at SCE Worldwide Studios when I say that we've been truly inspired working on PlayStation Vita. We believe this device will change how people think about portable gaming.
Did it really change how people thought of portable gaming? I think in 2012, the Vita showed just how far portable gaming had come, and really could deliver console-like experiences. But I think Sony really meant this in terms of the augmented reality gaming and social connectivity side, rather than as a core gaming machine.
But you don't have to.
As you saw from the Uncharted 3 demo, the bar for production values in an Uncharted game is incredibly high. Everyone knows who Nathan Drake is, how he looks, moves, and sounds. PlayStation Vita had to have the memory and processing power, not just to allow us to get Drake right, but the environments as well.
I think Uncharted Golden Abyss was a great game. It looked awesome and played just like Uncharted on the PS3. I think it should have reviewed much higher. Ben did an amazing job of putting a full Uncharted game on the Vita.
Here, instead of using the square button for combat, the entire screen becomes a virtual button. You can just tap the fist icon, or you can touch the enemy directly to take him out.
The touch controls for Uncharted were fine and unintrusive for the most part, but the final boss fight was a pain, especially on the hardest difficulty, where one mistake meant restarting the fight.
Nice job. Okay, that's our demo. To wrap up, our goal wasn't just to create an authentic Uncharted game, but to create an Uncharted game unique to the PlayStation Vita.
I think generally they succeeded here, but the touch controls to fight, the charcoal rubbing, and holding up the Vita to the light were bad ideas. They didn't ruin the game, but if you're trying to replicate the console Uncharted experience, there's no need to add these random control features to the game.
Scott said, Ruin is an action-based...
Okay, Ruin was announced as cancelled in 2013. Watching this presentation again, it's actually such a shame. It looks so good.
So Jeff is playing our Infernal Warrior right now, and as you can see, he's really not about a whole lot of defense, he's all about attacking. That will work seamlessly with the PlayStation Vita version. So, we just save Ruin to the cloud and resume on the PS3. So to show you how this works, Jeff is going to save his progress,
There have been quite a few games that use this feature to transfer progress from PS Vita to PS3, like Rogue Legacy or Sound Shapes. It's a really good idea.
Thanks, guys. As we have just seen, PlayStation Vita allows you to continue your gaming experiences on the go or at home, on the big screen or on the gorgeous OLED screen.
I wonder if Nintendo saw this and thought, that's actually a really good idea, but instead of needing two systems, we can do it with one.
Cloud-based saves for instant action on PS3 is a truly unique feature that you can only get on PlayStation.
Thank you, Scott.
I wasn't a fan of Mod Nation Racers on the Vita, so I don't have much to say here. Using touch to create tracks is cool, as is access to user-created tracks on the PS3.
I'd like to point out that PlayStation Vita titles will have many different types of cross-platform functionality with the PS3. For example, Wipeout 2048 will have a unique feature called crossplay, allowing up to 8 players to compete against each other online using either the PlayStation Vita or the PlayStation 3. And this title will be...
This is really awesome that Vita players could play with PS3 players. There's another game coming up that does that as well, and it meant there's more chance of finding people to play with online. It's a shame though that more games didn't do this. Also, while it's a cool feature, it kind of needs Sony to keep the servers online, which they turned off last year for Wipeout 2048.
Little Big Planet is the franchise that started this concept. And since it launched in 2008, it has gone on to make developers out of millions of creative consumers around the world. On the PlayStation Vita, Little Big Planet will revolutionize portable gaming by taking advantage of all the great technological innovations that Kaz was talking about earlier.
Most of the Little Big Planet levels I played didn't really use the Vita's features. I think again it comes back to what gamers want, and they just want to be able to play and control games in a traditional manner. I agree with this statement. There are so many levels out there to play, and last time I checked a few months ago, there were still new levels popping up. It'll be a sad day when Little Big Planet servers are shut down. I really enjoyed Street Fighter Cross Tekken, and it's another game where you can play online against PS3 owners. I think this announcement was a pretty big deal. It shows support from third-party publishers, and that the Vita could handle console games.
This is just a sample of what's coming for PlayStation Vita. In all, there are more than 80 titles in development from just about every publisher and developer, including EA, Ubisoft, Capcom, THQ, and Activision.
Did THQ launch any games on the Vita? I tried searching online but couldn't find any. The other publishers did, although Call of Duty Black Ops Declassified was a missed opportunity to release a really big COD game on the Vita. So this montage has Uncharted Golden Abyss, Wipeout 2048, Little Deviants, Little Big Planet, Sound Shapes, Gravity Rush, Hustle Kings, Mod Nation Racers, Stardust, Ruin, Reality Fighters, Everybody's Golf, Virtua Tennis 4, Dynasty Warriors, and Dragon's Crown. And all these games came to Vita except for Ruin.
And I'm happy to announce that the Wi-Fi only model will retail for $249.
People forget, but this price was cheered by so many people at the time. The Wi-Fi model was the same price as a 3DS at the time. It was super competitive, but when Nintendo cut the price of the 3DS, then people thought the Vita was expensive, and it got a lot more negative press than the 3DS. Maybe if it didn't have the cameras and back touch, Sony could have mashed Nintendo and dropped the price.
PlayStation Vita will revolutionize the portable entertainment experience.
Well, not really. It tried, but people didn't want a revolution. The Switch shows people are happy for the console experience to be replicated on the go, without all the random extra features.
It takes the best technology from a gorgeous OLED screen to a front and rear touchpads and marry them with the PlayStation Network and the industry's best games and services. PlayStation Vita gives you the most completely entertainment package in the palm of your hands and the power to interact with the world around you. It is an experience you really need to see and feel to believe.
I remember when I first picked up a Vita and played it, I instantly loved it. I was already a huge PSP fan, so I knew I would get a Vita, but it exceeded my expectations of what I wanted from it. I didn't, though, want the social stuff or care about augmented reality. I wanted Uncharted on the go, Wipeout on the go, Assassin's Creed on the go. That's what Sony should have focused on, the core gamers, not chasing the mobile market or trying to build a new social network system. Good games on the go, that's what I wish they had focused on.
Great news on Vita, but I can't believe Cos made fun of my tie.
I found it really interesting looking back at this video. I do think Sony deserves praise for trying new things, even though many of these features ultimately turned out to be unused. What are your thoughts, guys? Do you think a Vita without the back-touch cameras and social features would have done better? Or do you think the Vita was always doomed? Leave a comment below, and as always, thanks for watching. And by the way, tune in on Thursday, I'm going to have another Vita video up. You won't want to miss this one.